The Observer's Dilemma. High Observer Vela stood before the massive quantum display in the observatory's central chamber, her silvery skin reflecting the holographic images of Earth that floated before her. Behind her, the Council of 12 shifted uncomfortably in their crystalline seats, their bioluminescent patterns pulsing with anxiety. 247 years of observation, Vela said softly, her melodic voice carrying through the chamber. All this time watching them grow, watching them struggle, and now. She waved her hand, and the display shifted to show a massive fleet of Nexus Dominion warships gathering at the edge of human space. "We cannot interfere," Elder Lyra stated firmly, her ancient form barely visible beneath layers of flowing robes. "The doctrine of non-intervention has preserved our civilization for millennia. We are observers, not warriors." Vela turned to face the council, her expression serene despite the storm raging in her mind. The Serenians had evolved beyond physical conflict eons ago, their civilization achieving perfect harmony through absolute pacifism. They had watched countless species rise and fall, always maintaining their distance, always preserving their neutrality. But humanity was different. "Show them," Vela commanded, and the display shifted again. Images flowed across the quantum screen. Humans rushing into burning buildings to save strangers, medics treating enemy soldiers on battlefields, activists standing peaceful against armies, scientists working tirelessly to cure diseases that didn't even affect their own people. "Yes, they fight," Vela continued. "Yes, they wage wars. But look at how they heal. Look at how they protect. Look at how they love." "They are dangerous," Council Member Orion interjected, his patterns flashing with concern. "Their history is soaked in blood. They split the atom and immediately used it as a weapon. They reached their moon and immediately began planning weapons platforms. And then they signed treaties to prevent nuclear war," Vela countered. "They transformed those weapon platforms into research stations. Every time humanity stares into the abyss of their own violent potential, they pull themselves back. They learn, they grow." The display changed again, showing the Nexus Dominion's battle plans. The Council collectively recoiled at the brutal efficiency of the planned invasion. The Dominion had identified humanity's potential as a threat to their expansion and intended to eliminate them before they could develop further. 17 billion lives, Vela said quietly. "That's what we're discussing. Not just human lives, but all the species they protect on their world. Did you know they create sanctuaries for their planet's endangered species? They fight to preserve life forms that serve no practical purpose to them, simply because they believe those lives have inherent value." Elder Lyra leaned forward, her ancient eyes studying Vela carefully. "You've grown attached to them." "I've grown to understand them," Vela corrected. "And I understand something else now, something that challenges everything we believe. Perhaps true peace isn't the absence of conflict. Perhaps true peace is the willingness to stand against those who would destroy it." The chamber erupted in murmurs. What Vela was suggesting bordered on heresy. The Serenian way was observation, not intervention. Peace through absolute nonviolence, not through action. Suddenly, the quantum display flared red. Multiple council members rose from their seats as data streamed across the screen. The Nexus Dominion fleet had begun to move. "They're ahead of schedule," Vela announced, her voice tight. "The attack fleet will reach Earth in less than 30 rotations. We're out of time for debate." She straightened, her silvery skin gleaming as she made her decision. "I am invoking Article 7 of the Ancient Charter." The chamber went completely still. Article 7 hadn't been used in over 10,000 years. It gave a high observer the authority to act unilaterally in cases where inaction would result in the extinction of a sentient species. "This is madness," Orion protested. "Even if we decided to help, what could we possibly do? We haven't engaged in conflict for over 50,000 years. We don't even have weapons." "No," Vela agreed, a small smile playing across her luminescent features. "But we have something better. We have knowledge. We have technology. And soon, we'll have humanity." She turned back to the quantum display, watching as the Dominion fleet moved inexorably toward Earth. "Send the signal," she commanded. "It's time humanity learned they're not alone in the universe, and it's time we learned that sometimes preserving peace requires the courage to stand and fight beside those who still remember how." As the signal was prepared, Vela reflected on the irony of the situation. The Serenians, the galaxy's most peaceful species, were about to ally themselves with a species that much of the galactic community considered barbaric. But perhaps that was exactly what both species needed: the wisdom to know when to stand down, and the courage to know when to stand up. The signal was sent, streaking across space toward Earth. Now all they could do was wait, and hope that humanity would prove themselves to be exactly who Vela believed them to be. The galaxy was about to change forever, and for the first time in millennia, the Serenians would do more than just watch. First contact crisis. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the United Earth Defense Force Command Center, staring at the impossible readings on her screens. Hundreds of unknown objects had just appeared in high Earth orbit, materializing through some form of technology that made their best stealth systems look primitive by comparison. "Talk to me, Dr. Rodriguez," she commanded, her calm voice betraying none of the tension coiling in her stomach. The chief scientist adjusted his glasses, his fingers flying over his holographic interface. They're just sitting there, Admiral. No aggressive posturing, no weapons signatures we can detect. But their energy readings are off the charts. One of those ships could probably power all of North America for a year." Before Chen could respond, every screen in the command center suddenly shifted, displaying a face that was almost, but not quite, human. The being's silvery skin seemed to shimmer with its own inner light, and its eyes held an age and wisdom that made Chen's breath catch. "People of Earth," the being spoke, its voice carrying an almost musical quality. "I am High Observer Vela of the Serenian Collective. We come with warning and an offer of alliance. You are in grave danger." Chen's training kicked in. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We're receiving you." She paused, choosing her next words carefully. "I hope you'll understand that we'll need some verification of your claims." A small smile crossed Vela's ethereal features. "Of course, we would expect nothing less. But time is short. The Nexus Dominion's attack fleet will arrive in 28 of your days. They intend to eliminate humanity before you can reach your full potential. We wish to help prevent this." "The hesitation in your voice tells me there's more to this story," Chen observed. "Indeed, my people, the Serenians, have not engaged in any form of conflict for 50,000 years. We are observers, peacekeepers. Some would say we are pacifists to a fault. This intervention breaks our most sacred protocols." Suddenly, new alarms blared. A Nexus Dominion scout ship had jumped into the system, probably intending to gather final intelligence before the main fleet's arrival. Before Earth's defense forces could react, the scout ship launched a barrage of quantum torpedoes, not at Earth, but at the closest Serenian vessel. What happened next would be debated in military academies for decades to come. The Serenian ship didn't fire back. Instead, it simply redirected the torpedoes, sending them harmlessly into deep space, using some form of energy manipulation that defied Earth's current understanding of physics. "As you can see," Vela continued, as if nothing had happened, "we have developed other ways to handle aggression." Chen found herself smiling despite the gravity of the situation. "Impressive. But I'm guessing if that was enough to stop the Dominion, you wouldn't be here." "Correct. Our defensive technologies are advanced, but the Dominion's numbers are vast, and their weapons constantly evolve. More importantly, we cannot be everywhere at once. We need," Vela seemed to struggle with the words, "we need warriors who remember how to fight. We need humanity." The scout ship, realizing its attack had failed, attempted to jump away. This time, another Serenian vessel simply reached out with a beam of golden light, and the scout's engines went dead. "We offer you our technology, our knowledge, our defensive capabilities, Vela said. In return, we ask you to help us remember something we have forgotten, that sometimes peace must be protected through strength. Chen looked around the command center, at the faces of her officers, human faces showing a mix of fear, wonder, and determination. In less than an hour, everything they thought they knew about humanity's place in the universe had changed. I'll need to contact Earth's Unified Council, Chen said. But speaking as someone who spent her life protecting Earth, I think you'll find humanity very interested in this alliance. We've learned some hard lessons about the price of peace ourselves. The Dominion believes they are attacking at the perfect time, Vela noted, before humanity has achieved significant space combat capabilities. They don't realize that this actually makes you more dangerous. Your species still remembers fighting against overwhelming odds. You still know how to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And you're hoping to combine that with your advanced technology? Chen asked, already seeing the possibilities. Indeed. But more than that, we hope to learn from each other. Perhaps between humanity's strength and our serenity, we can forge a new path, one that neither sacrifices peace for security nor security for peace. The captured scout ship was being towed into Earth orbit now, its crew contained by technologies that would have seemed like magic to humanity just hours ago. 28 days, Chen mused. To prepare Earth's defenses, integrate your technology, and create battle strategies combining your defensive capabilities with our offensive experience. She straightened her uniform. Well, High Observer Vela, speaking as someone who studied human history extensively, you should know that humanity has done more with less time when our survival was at stake. There is something else you should know, Vela added, her expression growing more serious. The Dominion chose to attack now for another reason. They've seen what we've seen. That humanity's greatest strength isn't your weapons or your tactics. It's your capacity to unite in the face of common threats, to fight not just for survival, but for ideals greater than yourselves. Chen nodded, understanding dawning. They're afraid we'll inspire other species to resist. Precisely. And after observing your species for centuries, I believe their fear is justified. Vela's image smiled. Shall we begin? Admiral Chen squared her shoulders, her voice firm with conviction. Yes, I believe we shall. Welcome to Earth, High Observer. Let's show the Dominion why they were right to be afraid. The art of war and peace. The massive holographic display in the joint Earth-Serenian Command Center showed the approaching Nexus Dominion fleet as a spreading red stain across the stars. Lieutenant Commander Maya Patel watched as High Observer Vela studied the tactical projections with an expression that mixed curiosity and concern. You're troubled by our battle plans, Maya observed, noting how the Serenians' bioluminescent patterns had shifted to darker hues. Not troubled, Vela corrected, her silvery features reflecting the holographic light. Fascinated. In 50,000 years of observation, we never considered combining our defensive technologies this way. The very concept of turning our peaceful innovations into tactical advantages. She paused. It's both disturbing and brilliant. Around them, humans and Serenians worked side by side in an unprecedented collaboration. Earth's military strategists were learning to integrate Serenian quantum field technology into their defense systems, while Serenian observers studied human combat tactics with academic intensity. That's humanity for you, Maya said, pulling up a new tactical simulation. We see possibilities everywhere. Even in peace, we prepare for war, not because we want it, but because we've learned the hard way that peace must be protected. The simulation showed Earth's new hybrid defense system in action. Serenian energy redirection fields, originally designed to harmlessly deflect natural space phenomena, had been modified to turn enemy weapons against their own ships. Human AI prediction algorithms, combined with Serenian quantum sensing technology, created an early warning system that could anticipate enemy movements before they happened. Watch this, Maya said, highlighting a particular tactical sequence. By synchronizing your quantum fields with our kinetic weapons, we can create corridors of concentrated fire that no shield can withstand. The same technology you use to protect life, we can use to end it. Vela finished, her voice soft. Yet I notice your strategies prioritize disabling enemy ships over destroying them. Maya nodded. Another human paradox for you. We fight hardest when we're trying to minimize casualties. The best victory is the one that ends with the fewest deaths on both sides. Their conversation was interrupted by an alert from the quantum sensors. Admiral Chen and a group of Serenian elders hurried into the command center. They're testing our defenses, Chen announced. 3 Dominion advanced scouts just entered the system. Show them what we've been working on. Maya's fingers flew across the tactical interface, coordinating with both human and Serenian operators. The first scout ship fired a barrage of quantum torpedoes, only to have them caught in a Serenian energy field. Their trajectories curved around in a perfect arc that sent them harmlessly into space. The second scout attempted to scan Earth's defenses, but the hybrid sensor grid fed it false readings, making Earth's military presence appear simultaneously everywhere and nowhere. The third scout, perhaps sensing the trap, attempted to jump away. That's when humanity's contribution truly shone. A precisely calculated burst from the new hybrid weapons system disabled its engines without destroying the ship. Perfect test run, Chen said, satisfaction evident in her voice. Now let's send them home with a message. Vela stepped forward, her natural serenity complementing Chen's martial confidence. The captured scout ships received a joint transmission, a simple visual of human and Serenian ships working in perfect harmony, along with a clear warning in the Dominion's own language. Peace through strength. Strength through unity. As the disabled scouts were released to limp back to their fleet, Maya noticed something extraordinary. The Serenian elders, who had initially opposed any military action, were watching the tactical display with obvious appreciation. You know what I find most remarkable about humans? One elder said, their patterns shifting to colors Maya had learned indicated deep thought. You've mastered the art of conditional violence. You can be utterly ruthless when necessary, yet maintain your compassion. You fight fiercely, yet show mercy. You prepare for war, yet value peace above all. That's because peace isn't just the absence of conflict, Maya replied, echoing words she'd heard in countless strategy sessions. Real peace is having the strength to defend it, and the wisdom to know when to use that strength. Vela's expression softened as she watched the scout ships retreat. Perhaps that's what we forgot, over our millennia of passive observation. Peace isn't a natural state. It's something that must be actively maintained. Sometimes through diplomacy, sometimes through demonstration of strength, and sometimes, she gestured at the tactical display, through teaching would-be conquerors that the price of violence is too high to pay. Admiral Chen joined them at the tactical display. The real battle is coming soon. The Dominion won't be intimidated by our handling of a few scouts. They'll come with everything they have. Good, Maya said, bringing up the next set of battle plans. Then we'll show them everything we have. Humanity's determination combined with Serenian wisdom. Our strength tempered by their restraint. Our tactical aggression enhanced by their defensive mastery. As they refined their strategies, a new understanding was forming between the two species. The Serenians were learning that their policy of absolute non-intervention had been its own form of violence, allowing aggressive species to prey on the weak while they watched from a distance. Meanwhile, humanity was discovering that their martial prowess could be enhanced, not diminished, by incorporating the Serenians' more peaceful philosophies. Together, they were forging something new. A doctrine of protective strength, of peace maintained through the credible threat of resistance, of wisdom backed by will. The Dominion was about to learn a harsh lesson about the true meaning of peace and the price of threatening it. Trial by fire. The Nexus Dominion fleet emerged from hyperspace like a metal storm, thousands of warships burning bright against the void. Admiral Chen watched from the bridge of the newly christened UES Harmony. humanity's first starship enhanced with Serenian technology. Beside her, High Observer Vela's normally serene features were tight with concentration. 5,000 ships, Lieutenant Commander Maya reported, her voice steady despite the odds. Just as our intelligence suggested. They're deploying in attack formation Delta. Exactly as predicted, Chen nodded. They still think they're fighting a primitive species with a few advanced allies. Commence Operation Avalanche. The first wave of Dominion ships launched their assault, expecting to overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers. Instead, they encountered something unprecedented in galactic warfare. Serenian quantum fields merged with human-designed gravitational lenses, creating a defensive network that didn't just stop attacks, it redirected them. Dominion energy weapons found their beams curved back upon their own ships. Missile barrages were caught in artificial gravity wells and transformed into impromptu minefields. Second phase, Chen commanded. Show them humanity's contribution to this dance. The UES Harmony and its sister ships moved forward, their hybrid drives allowing them to maneuver in ways that defied conventional space combat tactics. Human military AI, enhanced by Serenian quantum computing, predicted enemy movements with uncanny accuracy. Each shot fired wasn't aimed at where the enemy was, but where they would be. Remarkable, Vela breathed, watching as human ingenuity and Serenian technology combined to create something greater than either could achieve alone. Your tactics, they're beautiful in their efficiency. Targeting systems only, Chen reminded her fleet. Disable, don't destroy unless absolutely necessary. Let's show them that strength doesn't always mean annihilation. The Dominion fleet's rigid formation began to break apart as ship after ship found their weapons and engines disabled by precisely targeted strikes. Their legendary discipline wavered in the face of an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. But the Dominion hadn't become a galactic power through easy surrender. Their flagship, a massive dreadnought called the Inevitable Dominance, pushed forward with its escort fleet. They're powering up their main weapon, Maya warned. Energy readings are off the charts. The dreadnought's primary cannon fired, releasing a beam of energy that could shatter planets. It was the Dominion's ultimate statement of power, and their greatest mistake. Now, Chen ordered, execute Thunderbird Protocol. Every Serenian defensive field and human gravitational lens in the system aligned perfectly, creating a vast network of energy redistribution. The dreadnought's beam was caught, channeled, and split into thousands of smaller streams. Each stream was precisely directed to overload the shields of individual Dominion ships, leaving their vessels intact but completely powerless. In the span of 30 seconds, half the Dominion fleet had been effectively neutralized without a single death. Send the message, Chen said quietly. Vela's voice carried across all frequencies, reaching every Dominion ship in the system. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your tactics cannot surprise us. Your strength has been turned against you. But we offer you something your own leaders never would, the chance to retreat with honor and wisdom. For several tense moments, the remaining Dominion ships held their positions. Then, one by one, they began to power down their weapons. The Inevitable Dominance, its mighty cannon now useless, transmitted a single word. Why? Chen stepped forward, her voice joining Vela's in the transmission. Because humanity and the Serenians have learned what your Dominion never could. That true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. We could have destroyed your fleet. Instead, we chose to teach you a lesson about real power. The Dominion fleet began to retreat, their mighty armada reduced not by destruction, but by humbling precision. As they limped away through hyperspace, Vela turned to Chen. This victory, the High Observer said, will reshape the galaxy's understanding of both peace and power. It already has, Chen replied, gesturing to their bridge crew, humans and Serenians working in perfect harmony. Look at us. Your people have learned that peace sometimes requires action, while we've learned that victory doesn't always require destruction. Maya's console beeped with an incoming transmission. "Admiral, we're receiving messages from 24 species who were under Dominion control. They're requesting protection and alliance." Chen shared a knowing look with Vela. "And so it begins. The real work starts now, teaching the galaxy that there's strength in peace and peace in strength." "Perhaps," Vela suggested, her bioluminescent patterns glowing with new purpose, "that was humanity's destiny all along. Not to conquer the stars, but to protect them. Not to outgrow your warrior nature, but to transform it into something greater." As the Earth celebrated its first major victory as a spacefaring species, a new era was dawning. The galaxy's most peaceful species and its most determined defenders had forged an alliance that would change everything. The age of the warrior guardians had begun. A new understanding. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, the newly constructed Harmony Station orbited the planet like a shining beacon. Its unique architecture blended serene crystalline structures with human engineering, creating something that was neither purely human nor purely serene, but something gloriously new. Admiral Chen stood in the station's central observatory, watching Earth rotate below while diplomatic vessels from across the galaxy docked at the station. Beside her, High Observer Vela's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with quiet satisfaction. "The Nexus Dominion's delegation arrives tomorrow," Vela noted, her silver skin reflecting Earth's blue glow. "Their new leadership seems genuinely interested in our proposed galactic concordat. Amazing what a lesson in humility can teach," Chen replied, turning to watch a group of young Serenian observers training with human military strategists. Though I suspect seeing their invincible fleet disabled by a combination of peacekeeping technology and precise tactical strikes helped convince them. The past year had transformed both species in ways neither had anticipated. The Serenians, once pure observers, had discovered a new purpose as active guardians of peace. Their technology, previously used only for observation and defense, was being adapted to protect developing civilizations from exploitation and aggression. Humanity, in turn, had learned to temper its martial instincts with Serenian wisdom. Earth's military doctrine had evolved from pure defense to what they now called protective deterrence, the art of preventing conflict through the demonstrated ability to end it decisively and compassionately. "Look there." Chen pointed to a holoscreen showing the latest graduation ceremony from the new Earth Serenian Academy. Young officers from both species stood together, their training combining human tactical innovation with Serenian philosophical principles. A year ago, the idea of Serenians studying military strategy would have been unthinkable. Just as the idea of humans using quantum fields to disable rather than destroy would have seemed impossible, Vela countered. "We've both grown beyond our limitations." Lieutenant Commander Maya entered the observatory, carrying reports from the latest joint patrol. "The former Dominion territories are stabilizing," she announced. "The new local defense forces, trained in our combined doctrine, have successfully prevented 3 attempted piracy operations without a single casualty." "And the psychological impact?" Vela inquired, her scientific curiosity evident. "Profound," Maya confirmed. "Other species are starting to understand that strength and peace aren't mutually exclusive. The Arcturus Collective has requested permission to study our training methods, and even the notoriously militant Vega clans are showing interest in our defensive technologies." Chen moved to the observatory's tactical display, bringing up a map of known space. Scattered throughout were pulsing points of light, new joint defense stations, each staffed by human Serenian crews, each ready to protect any species that requested aid against aggression. "We're creating something unprecedented," Chen mused. "Not an empire, not a military alliance, but a network of protection and mutual understanding. The Serenians taught us that peace isn't passive, and we taught them that strength doesn't have to corrupt." "There's a human phrase I've come to appreciate," Vela said, watching a group of children, human and Serenian, playing together in the station's recreation area. "The best of both worlds." We've created something better than either of us could have imagined alone. An alert chimed softly, drawing their attention to an incoming transmission. A new species, previously unknown, had made contact. They were a young civilization, just beginning to explore beyond their solar system, and they'd encountered one of the remnant Dominion warlords who refused to accept the new order. They're requesting protection, Maya reported, then smiled. They specifically asked for the warriors who guard peace. Chen and Vela shared a knowing look. Dispatch the UES Harmony, Chen ordered. Full human Serenian crew. And send them our message, Vela added. The same message now being taught in every academy and printed in every diplomatic hall. Peace through strength, strength through wisdom, wisdom through unity. As they prepared to welcome another species into their growing community of protected worlds, Chen reflected on how far they'd come. The galaxy's most peaceful species had learned to stand and fight when necessary, while humanity had learned that their greatest strength lay not in their capacity for violence, but in their determination to protect. Together, they had forged a new path, one that transformed the galaxy's understanding of both peace and power. It wasn't just an alliance anymore. It was an evolution, a new way of existing among the stars. You know, Chen said, watching the UES Harmony depart on its mission of protection. A year ago, if someone had told me that humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization would be teaching peaceful beings how to defend themselves while learning from them how to fight without destroying, I would have laughed. And if someone had told me that the Serenians would learn the true meaning of peace from a species we once considered too violent to contact, Vela replied, her patterns glowing with amusement, I would have dismissed them as delusional. Maya joined them at the window, watching the stars. Maybe that's the greatest lesson we've learned, that peace isn't found in perfect serenity or overwhelming force, but in the balance between the two. In the wisdom to know when to stand down, the strength to know when to stand up, and the understanding to know the difference. Beyond the station, the galaxy stretched out infinitely, full of possibilities. Humanity and the Serenians had discovered something profound together, that the truest form of peace wasn't the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice, wisdom, and the will to protect both. It was a lesson that Galaxy would never forget.